This is a brief overview of the new version of AMP's device trajectory feature, which we usually call device trajectory v2 or device trajectory version 2. The new version is currently available as an open beta test on the AMP Cloud Console, and it introduces several improvements to performance and usability, and we'll review these changes in the next few minutes. Let's start with a brief comparison of the old and new views. Before we look at the new features, let's take a very quick review of the old interface. In the device trajectory, we have a scrolling window, left and right, that allows you to move backwards and forwards in time. You also have the ability to restrict the time range that you're looking at in the window if you want to narrow this down to make the scroll bar a little bit easier to manage. There are details around the event, and there's also the ability to apply various filters to what you're looking at. So maybe I want to remove some clutter by only looking at benign events. With the beta enabled, we have this link up here that gets us into the new trajectory. And here we are. We still have a scrolling list of events using the familiar display with the file names at the left. But now we also have this panel of all of the events in a scrolling window on the right. And if we select one of the events, either by clicking on it or by clicking on it in the scrolling list, we get the event details. Now, in the older interface, these would have been a floating pop-up window. Now, they're in a fixed location, and if there's more information than fits, we can scroll up and down. Closing out the event details brings us back to the list of events here. You also notice very prominently in the top part of the screen a sparkline style representation of the times during which we have events for the incident that we're looking at. You have a 30-day window, which is how much information AMP retains for each customer, and red dots indicate the days that we have events for the particular incident. Within the selected day, we then have our 24-hour window, and again we have red dots. Notice that as you mouse along, a floating panel tells you exactly what time you're looking at, what time you have selected, and clicking on the red dot will jump you to the key part of that particular incident. You may wonder what happened to the filters. They've now moved to this little drop-down menu here. All of the options are still here, so if we don't care about benign events, for example, we can exclude them from the display. The difference being that in the new device trajectory implementation, the filters don't actually take effect in the display until we click Apply. Once we've applied filters, notice that we get a little eye information icon up here, and that tells us that what's being displayed is a filtered subset of the actual events. To remove the filters, simply go back up here, select All Types, and Apply. Device Trajectory v2 also integrates with the workflow features in the inbox. So the information drop-down up here at the top now incorporates everything that you'd see if you were looking at this event in the inbox in the main dashboard interface, including the ability to change groups, change the work status of the incident, and so on. Device Trajectory v2 is still being enhanced and developed as the open beta process continues. A recent addition is search functionality within the trajectory. This is particularly helpful if you have events that are spread out across time, as in this case, and we want to look at a particular file that was involved in the event, figure out where it came from and everything that it did. The old way of doing that would simply be to scroll back and forth along the timeline of that particular file, and that still works fine, but we now also have the ability to enter that file as a search term and focus just on the stuff that was directly involved in that file. Notice that the time scale dramatically compressed as I did that to give me just the key events here in the lifetime of this particular malware file here. So that makes it a lot easier to focus on just the parts that we're looking at. And again, you get the little I to reflect the fact that you've got a subset of data, and clearing the search term gets you back to the full display. The new device trajectory is still under active development, so if you would like to send feedback about your experience with this test, we strongly encourage you to do so. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this informative, and good hunting.